Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Now, we know that Nicola Sturgeon has an ego, a massive, massive ego. In her mind, she sees herself as a political giant, traversing the face of the world, talking with the good and the powerful. She is in the club. She is all-knowing. She is all-seeing. She understands the minutiae of everything that she needs to talk about. There are no areas of her, her knowledge that are incomplete. She knows everything about everything. And she, of course, is magnificent. Everything she does is perfection. Everything she says is the wisdom of the ages. And all who get to know her love her. She cannot envision anyone in the world who is failing to be in total admiration and awestruck at her pure perfection and magnificence in her mind. And so the results of a poll will be an absolute plummeting inside her. It will rip her apart. She will be mad. She'll be furious that people fail to see her as she sees her. And it's really amusing, and it's going to come down. And this, of course, you have to remember, she hasn't been seen for nearly a week. After she was released last Sunday, she disappeared off the face of the earth because, she couldn't contemplate people thinking that she'd been caught. When she does surface, if ever she does surface, and she hasn't taken herself off to North Korea, where someone like her would be utterly welcomed, wouldn't they? If she ever does surface, she will be a broken woman. She'll be a shadow of her former self, because these poll results are absolutely devastating for someone whose ego is that massive. Let's look at this and see how far the mighty have fallen. Right, now this is actually breaking news. This is just like it says there an hour ago at the time of recording. It came up and I was just finishing off one video. I thought, I'll get that done and I'll make this one straight away because it's absolutely cracking. So Nicola Sturgeon ratings crash amid police probe into the SNP. And of course they were always going to, because people are finding out what the SNP are like, what Nicola Sturgeon is like. And so once the truth comes out, it's ultimately damaging. And of course that is the real reason the SNP cannot abide the truth, because the truth is so damaging. Nicola Sturgeon's personal approval ratings have plummeted since police officers searched her home as part of their inquiries into the SNP's finances, a new poll shows. The survey by Savanta records a double-digit drop for Miss Sturgeon's favourability since police went to her property, set up a forensic tent in the garden and arrested her husband, the former SNP chief, Peter Murrell. In March, the last time the pollster asked the questions, the former First Minister was the most popular politician in Scotland, with a net favourability rating of +10, because she was perfect. She got nothing wrong. She knew everything. She was magnificent. However, and there's a big however, this has plummeted by 17% to -7, placing her below the Scottish Labour leader Anna Sawar and the Labour leader in London, Keir Starmer. And he is not a popular man, even within his own party. Anyway, the former SNP leader has also seen drops in the number of people who view her as trustworthy, which with 38% saying that the characteristic does apply. So 38% of the people said she is trustworthy, but that's down 11 points. So that's down from, 49 to 38. That's like a 20-30, about 30% drop. As honest, 41%, which is down 10 points. Again, that's a 20% drop. As genuine, 44%, down from 55. Again, another 20% drop. This is awful for her. Isn't it funny? Funny for us. We know the truth. We've known this a long time. The poll was carried out from last Friday to Wednesday this week, a period covering Miss Sturgeon's arrest by officers involved in Operation Branchform. And so, of course, some of this polling data will be before she was arrested. So if they did it again, it's going to be even worse, isn't it? She was questioned for 7 hours before being released without charge pending further inquiries, and then immediately went to ground and hasn't been seen in nearly a week. In her statement after her release, she said, "I know beyond doubt I am in fact innocent of any wrongdoing. You know in your mind. Doesn't mean you haven't broken any laws, love. You know what I mean? You might be thinking you're innocent. It's up to the courts to decide, not you." Her arrest follows those of Mr Murrell and the SNP Treasurer Colin Beattie. The poll for the Scotsman interviewed 1,018 Scottish adults aged over 16. They also found Scottish voters almost equally split on support for independence or the Union, which has remained stable since March. The figures show a small growth in support for yes since Humza Yousaf's appointment as First Minister and SNP leader, with 46%, which is up 1 point, saying they would vote yes. So still trailing the no vote. 47% stating they would vote no. So you see, still predominantly no. With the don't knows excluded, the figures sit at 49% for yes and 51% for no. So there we are. The SNP support is slightly down in terms of the coming Westminster election, which is due to take place before early 2025. With Mr Yousaf's party down 1 point on 38% and Scottish Labour up 1 on 34%. But we did the video earlier today with the North Lanarkshire Council election, which showed a massive swing from SNP to Labour. And also that general election, that's going to be timed well. I mean, they say before the end of the early part of 2025. It looks likely it's going to be autumn 24. But who knows? I mean, it could call a snap election very soon. There is no, there's no reason why it couldn't. So it could be at any time, to be honest. In terms of Westminster voting intentions, the Scottish Conservatives are down 2 points to 17%, not surprising. The Scottish Lib Dems are up 1%, 7 to 7, and the others make up 4%, no change. Such a result would see the SNP lose 21 seats, minimum, because of course this poll was taken before the Nicola Sturgeon arrest, and of course if you factor that in, it's likely to be more. But they still remain in first place with 27, Labour behind on 22, up 21. But those 21 extra seats that Labour get are all part of the Labour majority, which it undoubtedly will be at the next election in Westminster, and that will be reflective. I mean, it'll be Labour will be sitting on this side of the House, looking out at the opposition, and there will be the Tories and, of course, the SNP sitting next to them. That'll make uncomfortable bedfellows, won't it? Figures suggest around 1 in 6 SNP voters in 2021, 16%, are moving to Labour for the next Westminster election, an increase from the 1 in 9 noted in doing so in the polling last December. So it is increasingly, there is a momentum now. It's not just people drifting across. There is actually a push now to go from SNP to Labour. But that won't just be, of course, in the Westminster election. This will filter through local elections. We've got the by-election in Rutherglen and Hamilton West coming up. So that will be interesting. That will, I think, I've said all along, Labour will win that. If they don't, I'll eat my hat, because it is so strongly Labour now. This poll will not be good for anyone. But I mean, the whole of the SNP are going down. I mean, it is welcome to see that. Doesn't mean Labour are any good. They may well also fail, but at least they'll fail differently. Or at least they won't be blaming Westminster for their failures, put it that way. But just there. But this whole poll, she has gone from being the saviour, the messiah almost, of the Scottish independence movement, to a figure now of ridicule. And ultimately, that's how you really damage the egos of politicians. Don't argue with them, because they'll just drag you down to their level and beat you over the head with it. Don't accuse them of things unless it's true. If you truly want to destroy a politician and a political career, you mock them. You simply ridicule them and speak the truth. That's the two things that they can't abide: ridicule and the truth. And it would certainly destroy her. Her ego is fragile. It's so fragile. And we could destroy it by simply ridiculing her and all she's trying to do. Good, isn't it? It's absolutely delicious. I'm going to come up. It's not looking good for the SNP in general. And having their most wonderful leaderine so damaged in the public view, that rubs off, because ultimately shit sticks. And if she's seen as being anything other than magnificent and wonderful and perfect, this vision of perfection, then that will rub off and tarnish the rest of the SNP. And that is what we are seeing is happening. Everywhere you look, support for the SNP is dwindling away. They're not down to danger levels yet, but it is certainly very worrying for the leadership. They're not getting any money in from the people. Their support is drifting away to other parties. They're increasingly seen as ineffective, inept and stupid, and they know it. They can't get a single policy through. They are a pretty pointless organisation. Right? I mean, they're a bunch of obnoxious, hate-filled individuals anyway. They are no different than the brown shirts from the 30s. That's effectively what they are. They just pick on the English and not, other classes. But that's all these people are. It is sort of that kind of level of thuggery, really. They're not a genuine political party. They shouldn't be given that respect. They're a bunch of louts, really. Just that. They're objectionable louts. They've put a nice sharp suit on to make themselves respectable. But we know deep down that that's not what they are. And so, increasingly, people are seeing. And finally, they're waking up. Anyway, I shall finish there. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you see here on the channel, please hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, vote elsewhere, and goodbye.